Welcome to Weird Games and Weirder People, a podcast about role-playing games and the weird, wonderful people behind them. Hello, wonderful weirdos. Welcome to Weird Games and Weirder People. I am Diogo Nogueira, and today's guest is the wonderful JP Coovert. He's an artist, he's a comic artist, a writer, RPG game designer, adventure writer. He does so much things. He writes adventures, he writes games, he writes supplements, he writes toolkits. His Patreon is amazing. I totally recommend you to subscribe to tweets to get the zines, get the stuff that he does. But before I get into that, I would like to remind you to subscribe to the show, wherever to listen to the podcast. Leave us a review, tell us what you think about the show, and share it with your friends, with your gamers, friends, with your friendly local game store, and support the show if you can. If you have any coins left from your last adventure, check out the show notes to see how you can pay us a coffee or buy one of my games. And I have an announcement. If you are from Brazil, we have a convention coming at the end of the month and early June. I'll be on Diversão Offline, so if you're there, I know there are listeners from Brazil. Let's talk it out, let's get weird. So let's get back to JP Coovert. We talked a lot about how he turned RPG hobby into a job, and how he actually helps him be consistent in his output and the way he approaches his work. We talk about skateboarding and how cool that is. We talk about his influence from Akira Toriyama, how Akira works inspired his own. We talk about the stuff that he learned in college and how he applies that in role-playing games. We talked about how he, as a partner, has also a creator and how that affects their life, how they work together to make their own things and how they support each other and how that's so much important. It was really an inspired show, so I hope you like it as much as we did. So let's get weird with JP Coovert. Hey JP, welcome to Weird Games and Weirder People. It's so good to have you here. I had a wonderful time hanging out with you at Gen Con and chatting and meeting people and looking at cool stuff. But how have you been, my friend? How have you been since Gen Con?
Excellent. Thanks for having me, first of all. And yeah, Gen Con was awesome. And a highlight was definitely hanging out with you and walking around and getting to know you and all of that. And then since it's been good, just working and making stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I'm always impressed. Like, you're always putting out stuff like non-stop, and it's very inspiring. And I don't know, sometimes I'm a little bit jealous too. Like, how do you keep working constantly? Like, I love this phrase that says like consistency is more important than intensity, and you seem to be like a proof of that. So I know we're gonna talk about this later, but do you have anything? Do you have a practice that helps you work on your art, on your craft, like every day, like constantly, and like maintain this consistency?
Well, I think the fact that it's turned into my job helps a lot. So I mean, having the like pressure of a deadline, and I guess that's the practice is like telling people like, hey, this is going to be done by this day or whatever, is the big help, because it's I struggle with procrastination and showing up, but I also at the same time think that stuff is very important. So that kind of pressure is the thing that helps me get all of the work done.
Yeah. I kind of have this hope that maybe one day, if I'm really doing this, like I have to do this to pay the bills, I'll be better at always showing up for this, because I have a day job and I always show up for the day
Yeah.
job because it's what pays the bills, right? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
met, but I also have the fear that if it's my job, I won't like doing it. It will be hard, and I always this fear of turning this passion, this craft, into my only job that pays the bills, and like will I step up my game or I will, I don't know. It's scary, and I'm great.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful that you are able to do this, and it's amazing. It's inspiring. And JP, for the wonderful weirdos out there that maybe don't know who you are, haven't seen your work yet, but and I totally recommend they check it out immediately if you're listening to this. There's show notes on the episode, so just stop whatever you do and go check it out. But who is JP Coovert? What is that you do? And if you can share with us and the weirdos at home, just a small little detail about yourself, maybe a weird habit, the way you do coffee, or the way you organize your books, anything like this.
Okay. Yeah. So I make videos about like drawing maps and creating for tabletop role playing games on YouTube. And I also publish monthly TTRPG zines. So a zine a month, and um, it's kind of whatever strikes my fancy that month. So um, one shot adventures. Um, I actually appropriate for um, this show. I just did a zine called Flick Silverpin's Guide to Little Weirdos. So just a
Mm.
collection of 25 little NPCs that you can throw into your game, stuff like that. And then as far as weird habits, I was well. So I don't know. Yeah, this is pretty weird. um, I have a thing about like what kind of um like like I have to have the right fork or spoon or cup. Um so like uh I forgot to run the dishwasher and was kind of like all out of cups. And I had cups, but not the right cup. So like
Uh,
this morning I had to
it's
get
like your cup, or do you have a specific cup for like coffee, one cup for and something else?
yeah. So like I mostly drink water.
Mm-hmm.
And so for a glass of water, I have like these like good BPA free plastic cups that are bigger. And then if I want like a glass of orange juice, then it has to be like a smaller glass cup. And just like
Oh, I see.
depends on what, and that extends to like if you're eating ice cream, it has to be the right spoon. And
Yeah,
that's kind of like my weird neurotic thing, I guess, that I was just
yeah.
reminded of this morning. So that's what comes to mind.
That's interesting. Do you have anything like this in your other stuff? Like now I imagine, because I kind of have something like this, like for RPGs, like, oh, for this game, I use this set of dice. Like, even though they may be like the same dice, the fours and the six, but then like separate. Like, oh, this game is this set of dice, this
Hmm.
game is this set of dice, and this kind of stuff. And of course, if I don't have an option, I'll grab another set of dice to play. But I'm like always looking for the right set of dice for that game. I'm wondering if
Yeah.
you have this thing about it has to be the right one for any other thing, or just the forks, spoons, cups, and bowls.
Yeah. I mean, as far as dice go, I think I'm not. I know that they're like people that are more particular. I try to like match the color
Mm-hmm.
with the game. So like I'm trying to think of so like for a long time I played in a Shadow the Demon Lord game. I have these like red bloody clear
Yeah.
dice, and so like I always use those, but it's not like a like these are the lucky dice or anything like that. It's I just
Oh
try to
yeah,
like
no, it's more
match it
thematically.
aesthetically. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
Yeah, like for solar blades, I had made some dice that look like, you have the universe inside them, so they're like dark
yeah,
blue with sparks inside and look like stars. And
yeah,
for, as you
perfect.
said, like for a darker game, you'll get like this dark dice with speckles that look like maybe blood or weird
Hmm.
symbols, or you get a dice from like Call of Cthulhu to play like a horror game or like a pulp fantasy something. Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I, I try to do. But JP, what did you do before all this explosion of creativity and making zines and making your videos? Uh, who was JP Coovert before doing your work in role playing games?
Yeah.
Oh, who are you outside of this too? Let's say.
um, s- so outside, I don't know how to answer that. I maybe work too much. Um, before I was like a freelance illustrator designer. So did all kinds of like illustration for books, mostly like kids stuff. I have friends here where I live that run a skateboard company, so I do all the graphics for their skateboards. Um, before going full time freelance, I designed T-shirts for little kids for Target. That was
Mm,
that was like my day job for a long time. And yeah, yeah.
yeah. Do you think in any of those past experiences you you were able to take something that you learned and you are able to apply to what you do right now as a tabletop creator, an indie creator? Did you any skill, anything you learned that you can trace back to those previous jobs you had?
Yeah, I mean, uh, ton like I guess the most basic or not basic, but like one to one thing is like just learning how to use Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign. That translates well to um, how I
Yeah,
illustrate the zines and lay them out and all of that. And then I think I mean, there's probably so many things. I talked a little bit about the deadline, so like knowing that I need to have the deadline to get stuff done, like that was a thing I learned.
mm-hmm.
Um, maybe like um, writing for other people. So I I think this was maybe still the hardest part. Um,
Yeah.
is like you know and I'm sure you're like this too, like you have so much going on in your head and
Yeah.
you're imagining so many things, and you can like, or I should say I can write down a little sentence that wouldn't make sense to anybody else, but like is so clear in my
Yeah.
mind. And
Mm-hmm.
so like learning how to translate from that to something that somebody else can read and use at the table, or that skill I think
Yeah.
is because I think it's easy for us, us
Of
weird
course.
creative
Yeah, of
people
course.
to,
Yeah.
yeah,
This
the trick
happens
is
all
getting
the
the ideas
time.
out.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
get
yeah.
better at it. We get better at translating our thoughts and our rationale behind things to the paper. But there are still times like I pass my manuscript to an editor or something, and they're like, well, they ask questions, and I realize, oh yeah, I haven't clarified this to the point that someone who has no idea what I'm talking about will easily understand it. Because yeah, of course, there are some people that will make the jump and understand what were your intentions behind that. But there will be people that will have no clue, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And and
Yeah, I
and
wish
now
there was
working
a
as an
I
editor
w-
too, and like have people
oh yeah.
writing for me, I'm realizing that yeah, I understand what you want to say this, but the reader who will get this won't, because they are not games, because game designers kind of have almost like a lingua franca. We can understand a little bit which each other intends with something, but we know a completely inexperienced person with that will have a harder time. So yeah, we have to be more careful with how
Totally.
we think we are clearly presenting something, because we already know what you want to say with that, but we are not. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I wish I mean the fun of it is the fun of making stuff is taking the thing from our brains and trying to like make it real, right?
Yeah.
Um, but then that's also like the challenging, frustrating part too, because like sometimes I was like, oh, I wish I could just like take the
Yes.
picture in my
Yes.
brain and just like, you know,
Materialize it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
wizard it
Yeah.
onto a sheet of
Yeah.
paper or something. But
Like all these plugs here in my head. I just
yeah,
thinking about the stuff on right, and the graphic, and everything, and
yeah,
just
yeah,
appears on Photoshop the way I wanted.
exactly.
Yeah, that would be a lot easier. But yeah, it would be a lot easier, but it's also a lot. It's very nice when you are able to work you see you write it and it's still not good, but you keep working it, and you slowly, as I think it was Michelangelo saying, you slowly free the figure inside the stone block, and you
Yeah,
slowly free your idea from that mass of writing stuff you have, becoming clearer and clearer, and then after your fifth, draft, you're like, oh yeah, this is something I can publish, or this is something I can show to more people and stuff like this.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. JP, one of the main topics of the show is the weird, and we kind of have this positive view of the weird as something like weird is the new wonderful, and it's something to celebrate, and we try to get away from that. It's something bad, and what I like to do too, we ask for guests here to, if maybe they wanna, try defining what is weird for them, and maybe talk about how they relate to the weird if they seek it out in their work, in their life, they seek weird interactions or experiences. So, JP, how would you define the weird for you, and how do you relate to it in your work and in your life in general?
Yeah, so I think um, I guess I spend a lot of my time, well, maybe not a lot of my time, but I spend a decent amount of time like thinking, and I think this is reflected in my work, thinking back to like childhood and the things that I loved as a kid, and why certain things attracted me and sparked my imagination and all that stuff when I was younger. And so uh, one thing that comes up a lot. This might be a roundabout answer, but so I grew up in the suburbs of the United States, like right before the internet really became a thing. And I think a lot about how living in that environment, it was you know all of the chain restaurants. Everybody was like going to the same restaurants, all of the same like clothing stores, and like everything was just the same. There was only, you could go to the movies, you could play sports on the weekend. It was like just all the same kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff, right? And so, um, thinking back about that, the the weird, it's like the weird really stood out. So like, I feel like I was a pretty normal kid. Um, Normal in quotations,
Mm-hmm.
is like playing t-ball and all the same things as everybody else, like not but then once I started like hanging out with the weird kids, and they had interests outside of the norm, that's when all of the inspiring stuff started happening. So I mean, I think
Do you
to the
remember when that happened? When did you start hanging out with the weird kids? Because did you used to hang out with the more normal kids, and then someday you just how that happened, or
yeah,
you were always in the weird kid side?
so I don't know that I it was like a moment or what. I was like with
Mm-hmm.
this group of kids, and then it was a moment because I moved around a lot
Oh
as
yeah.
a kid, so it was always. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more just, and I don't think I realized it at the time either. But it was just like, oh, thinking back to like my closest friends growing up, it was, oh yeah, they were the like cool weird ones. Um, and so
Yeah.
I
So you were
yeah,
a weirdo, you just didn't know it yet. No.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then once the internet, really came
Yeah.
in, then it's all over. It's like look at all this great, interesting stuff that I had no idea about, and access to all this cool stuff. So, um,
Yeah. Did you know?
yeah.
Did any friends from before uh like grew apart because of you discovering yourself weird and hanging out with the weird kids, and maybe start playing RPGs or delving into this geek world, geek universe? Did you grow apart from someone because of that, or did they grow apart from you? That's what I mean.
Um, I mean, maybe I had friends that weren't super close that
Mm-hmm.
happened with, but um um I mean, I think growing apart maybe happened more because of
Moving around and
just
such
move
as
yeah,
well. Yeah.
moving and becoming an adult, and just
Yeah.
how like it naturally does, not because of
Yeah.
interest or anything. And actually one of my oldest friends, um we like uh, send voice messages back and forth to each other. Like our interests are so totally
Apart.
opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're
That's
still,
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's
So,
great.
and
Yeah.
he has his own weird stuff that he likes.
Yeah, for sure.
So
And yeah, that can be also true. Like weirdos can have weird things, different weird things, and but
yeah.
we kind of recognize each other and understand each other in that way. I think. Do you think RPGs by themselves are weird? And if you do or do not, what would be your favorite uh thing about role playing games?
Hmm. Um, I don't know if they're weird. I think they can be um a little uncomfortable at first. I mean, I think like I don't think they're uncomfortable, but like someone from the outside might like look like, oh, you're like just sitting around talking and pretending.
Mm-hmm.
That's maybe weird. Um I think it's cool and like the
Yeah.
most fun, so it's not
Yeah,
weird.
but weird's the new
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's the focus. It can be weird, right? Because we're sitting at a table in a especially today, like in a period of time that you're always even more isolated. People are working from home. People are doing their groceries from home. People are doing dates from home, right? There's some
Yeah.
people even don't go like on blind dates. They do blind dates on things like this
Mhm.
over the internet. So we are ever more isolated, and RPGs are a way to kind of connect us and I know a lot of people play, online, like we're talking here, because I can meet you. I would love
Yeah.
to go to a studio and talk to you in person. Uh, but RPGs, you get sit on a table. I meet friends. I make the effort to prioritize playing with people I can touch instead of online. I know
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends online that would love to play with them, but I miss the seeing other people. So I think RPGs are kind of a weird in a good way. Like we're kind of a rebellious act about all this isolation and disconnect. And we're connecting, we're creating something together. So it's not something that's ready made, right? It's not like a book, like or a movie
Yeah.
or a board game that we play, and it's already there. We just have to play and do things. Everybody has to collaborate in some way because if one person isn't isn't there to play, it isn't gonna work very well, right? So I think it's something. It shouldn't be weird, and but I'm glad it is. I'm glad it is this kind of. I don't know. I'm seeing this kind of rebellion, I guess, the way things are going,
Yeah.
and since it's growing again too, I think it's people realizing something that we're missing, and RPGs can I don't know bring it back. So
I
that's
think they're
just my
really,
view. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That 100%. And I think the really cool thing about, or what I really really love about playing and running games is, we have so many activities that we can do that are like totally passive.
Oh yeah.
Love watching movies and shows. Love,
It's so
uh,
easy today to
yeah,
do
yeah.
anything.
Um, but then like when you get together with a group to play, it's like everybody's active and engaged in this like form of creation, and I think that's like
It's good
so
for us.
special.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
healthy too. It's healthy too.
yeah,
What you're saying, like it's very passive, is very sedentary. As I said, you don't have to leave your sofa for anything. You
yeah,
can
yeah.
you can click a button and everything happens. And it's something I'm talking to my kid a lot. It's creating people that are very immediate. They want things that happen this, and if you have to, you know, if it takes a while, they get very frustrated. And I don't know, life isn't Netflix. Life isn't easy to just push a button and things happen. And
Yeah, yeah.
we kind of have to get used to taking our time, right? I think it's this immediacy is always very anxious too. Like it's at least for me, it drives me nuts. I always think it have to happen, and I have
Okay.
to make this very effort to slow down. Even here in the podcast, it's very conscious. I have to slow down the way I speak because first of all, I'm not a native English speaker, so if I speak very fast, it gets all jumbled up. So yeah. Uh, JP, we talked about some of inspirations. You talk about how these memories, these things from your childhood are very important to you, and you draw from them a lot. And maybe you're already answered this in some way, but I always like to ask if you identify maybe a period of time from your life or an aspect of culture, a genre or kind of an author or anything you see you constantly drawing from for inspiration for your work, for your craft. I myself, of course, as game designer and creators, we are always drawing inspiration from everything we do, every experience we have. Might be eating tacos some place and have idea to make an RPG about tacos. I don't know, but I see myself often drawing from, as you said, from my childhood, from the comics, from the movies, from you know cartoons that I used to watch. And I wanted to ask you if you have anything like this for you too, any period, any aspects of your life that you see yourself constantly going back and bringing something to work on.
Yeah, so the everything, like you said, everything that's going on all the time is inspiring, so you never know when you're going to get caught by the inspiration. To be specific about it, I think my work is very cartoony. I mean, I talk about Akira Toriyama all the time, the creator of Dragon Ball. When I first started getting into tabletop games, I kind of like refell in love with his illustration work for like specifically the monster designs for the Dragon Quest games. I just love those drawings so much. And so that's kind of been like a through line through a lot of the illustration work in my games. Um,
Awesome.
but then um, there's just so much stuff.
Yeah. Did you
Um,
used to watch Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z?
yeah. So
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
like when
Chrono
I
Trigger. Did you
yeah, I
play
mean
Chrono
Chrono Trigger
Trigger?
was
Yeah.
definitely big. At that time I didn't know, when I played Chrono Trigger, I don't think I was um
Aware we're the same guy, right?
yeah, I wasn't like paying attention to the people who were making the things that I
Mm-hmm.
loved. But I think Dragon Ball was maybe one of the first things um that was that like, oh, like having to figure out who made this crazy thing. Uh
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah, he
I'm trying
he
I'm
he passed away recently, and
yeah.
but yeah, his creations. I remember. I have vivid memories, in high school during recess, talking about, "Hey, did you watch Dragon Ball last night?" And being excited, and those fights that would last
It's-
30
it was
episodes,
agonizing,
and
yeah. And then
the episode would basically Goku and Frieza just staring
staring, yeah.
down at each other, and like,
The
okay,
thing that always drove me so crazy is you never like for I don't know what it was like for you, but here, it came on every um, afternoon, like after school, you
mm-hmm.
go watch, and it would like go up to a certain point. It wouldn't like end at the end of a season. It would just some random point. It would stop, and then it would start all the way over again, and they'd
Oh
run
wow.
it, and then you'd finally catch up, and like you'd get a few more episodes. You never knew when it was going to stop again, and then it would start all the way back over, and you had to watch. So it's like
Yeah,
I feel like I've seen I've seen the
that's
first
true.
part
Yeah.
of Dragon Ball Z so many times
Oh yeah.
just because it was always restarting. Yeah.
Yeah. The part
Um,
that comes Vegeta comes from the first time. Yeah, I've
yeah,
watched
yeah.
that first. The part until part until Frieza, I think, was the one that most repeated every time. But after that,
Yeah.
Majin Buu and all those other stuff was really later on, and didn't. I was older too and didn't repeat that
Same.
much when
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
passing here. Yeah. Uh, and talking about you talked about Akira Toriyama as inspiration too, and I was always ask creators here that if they, I don't know, somehow have maybe a teacher or a role model or maybe another creator who inspires them in some way, or maybe they try to emulate the way they do their work, the way they approach their craft, or approach how they portray themselves in the scene. And that can be either from role playing games or movies or comics, or manga or animation. Uh, it's mostly, is there any artist or creator uh, you see yourself being inspired by and drawing from and trying to learn from?
Yeah. So, but before, yeah. So when I went to school to college, I went to learn how to make comics, and my thought was I went to grad school. My thought was I was going to be a comics professor. I was going to teach comics. And I had a wonderful professor named Jason Lutz, who is like a masterful cartoonist. And he, at the same time, is a creator and publisher of tabletop games. So he has I think it's called
Mm.
Lamp Black, and Brimstone. I think is the. I'm so bad with names. Um,
Oh, it's the guy from Heart of the Wild.
Stone,
No, Heart of the Wild. No, it's the
yeah, Perilous
for
Wilds. I think is
yeah,
one of them.
Perilous Wilds. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And Stone Top is the latest thing that he's publishing. He I don't think maybe he wrote parts of that. He's very maybe isolated isn't the right word, but no social media or
Oh, I
any
see.
I think, but he's this wonderful professor. So he taught. He was like my grad school professor that like I worked on my thesis with.
Mm-hmm.
And like the most inspiring. If he did have social media, he would be like everybody's favorite like game thinker. I feel like
Yeah, I bet. Like
yeah,
I'm
he
thinking
would
here.
be a
Wow, would he be willing to let me interview? Because Perilous Wild
I
is it's an amazing book, and
yeah,
and
I
now
think
and knowing he's a teacher, I mean, he probably has a lot of wisdom to pass on. And like,
yeah,
wow,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
He would be great. He would be yeah, I'll try to
yeah.
set that up.
Awesome. Thank you, my
But I
friend.
just
Yeah,
think about how he
he's very good. I mean, through the
yeah,
work that I've seen from him, he knows what he's doing. Like and
yeah,
knowing
yeah,
he's a teacher, I mean, wow, he probably has fought this through a lot, and has a lot to offer. I would
yeah.
guess.
I
Yeah.
mean, you should also look up his comics. He has a one called Berlin that
Mm.
is finally a huge comics comic collection. It's like fiction, but leading up to like Nazi Germany.
Historical
It's
fiction. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Kind of.
Um, yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, but just like masterful stuff.
Awesome.
So yeah, I think about and he while I was at school, I'm trying to I think that's when Gary Gygax passed away and he did a thing where he ran um again, I'm so bad with names. It's the module with a bunch of frost giants and you like
Against
go
the
invade.
giant lords, against the giant lords, or something like this.
Yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
mean, you could say the name and I wouldn't
yeah.
remember. It was a
Yeah.
while ago. But he like ran that for everybody, and
Nice.
that was kind of that was like the first little step of getting back into um, tabletop stuff.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean he is so cool, and I wish more people like knew. um,
Yeah.
I mean, he's very like about the work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I wish more people knew about him.
Yeah.
So
For
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
You mentioned getting back to tabletop stuff. So use it to play and make stuff. You stop and then you came back. So how was this break and why did it happen and how did you come back?
Yeah. So in I guess it was middle school, I found the Dragonlance books, and
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of the I think it was like read the Hobbit, and then like Dragonlance was kind of the main thing for me for a while
Mm-hmm.
there, and then it was like um, oh, what's this like D&D thing? Getting the monster, I remember it was like getting the monster manuals, just like page after page of these awesome monsters and stuff. Um, I think I played. I never had the confidence. I'm so bad with rules. I'm always that's like my main struggle is rules and math and it breaks my brain. um so like I never had the confidence to run a game, but I convinced a friend to run. I think it was a third edition game, and we played. Um, Maybe it's 3.5. I don't I don't remember. But we played like a little bit. I'm sure we weren't playing it correctly. Um, I remember playing a game of Exalted in high school, and that was weird.
Yeah.
That was an interesting game, and then it just kind of um, fizzled out during college. It was
Yeah.
always like very sporadic. Like, oh, it's
Mm-hmm.
this cool thing, but there's video games and comics that were my, you know, that's what I
Yeah.
was paying the most attention to. Um, and then it was, um, I don't remember the
What
date at this
brought you
point.
back?
Yeah, yeah, and so I had a friend who just wanted to start running fifth edition, like so many people. Started doing a fifth edition game just over Discord, and then like really fell in love. Um, Started wanting to run games myself, and snowballed from there. But that was maybe, I don't know, eight years ago at this point, maybe 10. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome. And you didn't stop since then. And
yeah.
when did you start making your own stuff? Who How did you make that jump from playing and consuming and checking out the indie stuff and saying, hey, I will make this stuff too?
Yeah, so I was freelancing at the time, and when I first started running games, I and my intention was like, okay, this D&D stuff is going to be my hobby. I'm not going to turn this into work, because I
Hmm.
spend so
Yeah.
much time like trying to make work that makes other people happy, and like this D&D thing's going to be for me. And so I but then of course I started making like little paper miniatures for my games. So like every session I would like draw up the new like goblin adversary that the players were gonna face off against, or some cool dragon or whatever, and had a lot of fun, you know throwing the new miniatures down on the table, the new like the paper miniatures down to impress my friends with. um, and then at the same time, like making the YouTube videos. um, so it's kind of like this. um, I don't remember which video, but I was just like how to draw some kind of fantasy map, and it was just like, oh, I wanted to make a video this week. I'm drawing this map for my game, and so I put that out there, and that started um, getting people's attention. And then it was like, oh, I'm gonna just stream drawing the little paper miniatures, and then it just kind of started going from there. Um,
Mhm. Yeah.
and my hobby that was only for me very quickly turned into making stuff for other people. But that's it's wonderful. It's amazing and awesome, and um,
Yeah.
I have other things that are just for me now. So
Oh
yeah.
yeah, it's another question to make. As you turn it something that was like a hobby or passion in something kind of your work, sometimes we might miss having this place to escape and just experiment and just do something for ourselves. So do you have a hobby that's just for you? Some any kind of creative pursuits that's you just do it for yourself?
Yeah. So like said, my friends here run a skateboard company. So
Mm-hmm.
we have it's like the most amazing thing ever. We have a private skate park. So like my office, that I'm not in now, but the like background that's in all the YouTube videos, like that office is like right next to this private skate park. So
That's
after I'm
nice.
done
Yeah.
writing stuff or drawing stuff or making a video, I can go skateboard. And that's kind of my um, I don't if somebody's filming and I land something, then I'll post a clip or whatever on Instagram or wherever, but I don't make a big deal about. I'm also like really bad at skateboarding. So like that's my like just for me thing that um, I don't try and promote it or put it out there or
Yeah.
anything like that. And just have fun being bad at skating.
That's awesome. I always wanted, to know how to skate. I used to try, but I couldn't do like the ollie, the flip, just the
Yeah.
jump. It's so hard, and I relate to like a Desert Adam Sandler bit on one of his last special that talks about how he always wanted to do a flip, and he can't, and he met the Pope, and he asked the Pope if he was gonna go to heaven, and the Pope asked, "Can you do a flip?" And he's like, "No, you can't."
Yeah, so like the thing I love about skating is it's it's so hard. It's like so hard. It's um I think that like people that are really good at it, it's like they're magicians. It's like some things that people do um like I'm in it enough that I can like understand it, but some things that people do, it's like, wait, how is that even possible? And it's the cool thing about it is that you have to fail over and over and over and over and over, like it's just endless failure, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like what people what people say about playing Dark Souls or whatever. It's like you fail like fighting this boss over and over again. So when you finally do it, when you finally land the trick, it's like the most amazing, euphoric, awesome feeling. It's like I finally did it, and it could be like the most simple thing ever, but because you had to fail so many times, and um, it's just yeah, it's just really cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and also like going
absolutely.
fast and stuff. I mean, that's there's always
Yeah,
um,
and it looks cool as fuck. Like riding
yeah.
a skateboard, it's like it's one of the you're hanging out with the weirdos, but it's one of the cool kids who like doing skateboarding and stuff. So for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. Well,
JP,
I'm.
go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't know that I look that cool on it, um, but yes, I
Yeah.
agree.
JP, are you working on a particular project right now that you would like to talk about a little bit and share maybe your favorite weird parts of it, or maybe your favorite weird parts of your Patreon that if people don't know about, JP has an amazing Patreon where he develops these zines, this material, and you can support him to get digital and even print formats. You get at your home. I get here in Brazil, so check it out. Uh, but what are you working on right now? And would you care sharing a little bit of how it is? How do you work? And your favorite weird part of this project?
Yeah, so the big thing that I'm trying to finish at the moment is a collection of the first 10 of the Patreon zines, like all compiled and weaved together. It's called Flick Silverpin's Guide to Dragontown and the Darkness Below. It's a big title, um, but it really it's like I guess 10 adventures that you could use as one shots, but then they also combine into one like longer adventure. Um,
Mm-hmm.
System neutral, fantasy setting, but system neutral. And let's see, the weird thing about it, I'm trying to think of what the weirdest. I mean, I always try and cram as much weird, I love playing like little weird NPCs. Like that's kind of my favorite thing as a GM is like making weird NPCs that um are unexpected and
Hmm.
I should like grab I think so like let me think here. There's a wizard like a floating wizard's tower that's underground, and it has like a talking door. There's these like lava trolls that live underground. They're kind of like these like weird stoner
Hmm.
trolls that just like bathe in lava. um
Yeah.
Most of
I
the
re-
adventure is underground, but then there's a part where you can like get teleported up into the clouds, and there's uh, these like big weird astral giant people that eat stars out of the sky. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I hope there's a lot of weirdness
Yeah,
in
it
there.
is. Like one of my favorite ones, maybe because I love dinosaurs and Primal Quest, is the one
Yeah,
from the turtle and the lava. That the level of the lava changes in the adventure. It makes
yeah,
the setting very interactive and you know fun to explore. And you talked about doing art and comics and doing things for kids, and the adventures you make have this very cartoonish kind of look and looks very playable with kids. So do you
yeah,
think all your stuff, all the adventures you made are you know easy to use with kids? It's uh would be appropriate to run with your family. And I have a 8-year-old kid, and I have a bunch of his friends that I hope one day turn them into like a D&D club, or
hmm,
RPG club. Not D&D because I don't want to play D&D,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah,
RPG club, and this really attracts me a lot, and I wanna play everything. I haven't read everything because, as you said,
yeah.
you make a lot of stuff, which is
Yeah, and
great.
and I've seen your collection. You
Yeah,
you have a lot of stuff. Yes, I'm very intentional about making these things fun for kids, and I don't have kids. I've only run a game for a kid once in my life. But I don't I always I don't know why, but creatively, I always try to make things that I would think if my 12-year-old
your
year old
child
self
self, yeah,
would think is
would
cool.
enjoy.
Like that's just yeah, and um,
Do you
with
think
fantasy,
any reason why is that? Why do you seek this inner child in your work? Do you have
I don't
any
know. Um,
insight into that?
yeah, that's something I should probably figure out. I mean, I think it's just like what
I
I don't. I mean, I think
it's it's
I'm
it's just me. I mean, for me, it
yeah,
might not be you. That probably has nothing to do with you. But for me, I make a lot of stuff for my inner child
yeah,
because I probably felt a lot of rejection. I felt very isolated as a kid,
yeah.
you know. And do you think there is anything like to do? Do you think you are trying to compensate something you missed when you were younger, or no?
Mm, I don't know about. I mean, I feel like I had a pretty good childhood. Like I said I had like cool, weird friends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was able to like be creative and stuff as a kid, and I mean honestly, I think maybe I just never grew out of it. Like
Yeah.
there's all kinds of pressure that
Mm-hmm.
you have to like.
Have to grow
be
up,
serious,
find
and
a job, be
and
serious.
yeah, and I just never I was like, this stuff is cool,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna keep liking it. I think
Yeah.
with fantasy stuff in particular, um, I think what I like about fantasy um, is the idea, like if I was built, I guess I am, but if I was building a fantasy world,
Mm-hmm.
um, I would want it to be like this idyllic place, with a bunch of weirdos running around being themselves. And then when you start talking about making games and like the fun in exploring a fantasy world, um, the stuff that I think is the most fun is when some um, grumpy old person comes in and tries to mess everything up, and then you got to like be a hero and stop them or whatever. And so that's kind of like the ongoing milieu. I don't know the right word, but the theme, the vibe of the games that I like to play in and run, and the stuff I like to make. Um, that's kind of what fantasy is to me, and I think at the root of that is that's just a very childlike idea, of how the world should work. And so it just all kind of fits. I'm not sure that really answers your question, but um, that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah, but it does raise some points in this idea of the new coming to replace the old in a way, right? To
Mm.
also fight the evil of the old. And do you think this has any relation to reality? Are you trying to express some dissatisfaction with the states that the things are in the world right now, of the how the old people have all the power, everything, and kind of screwed up the world, and it's up to the new generation to try to fix this mess. Do you think there's a relation there?
Yeah, absolutely. So um, my friend Scott, who I mentioned, that Shadow of the Demon Lord game, did two campaigns, where he like the longest campaigns that I've ever been a player in, um, with my friend Scott running them. And his whole idea is that like wizards are always assholes. Like they have all this power, and they're going to use it, to be evil and shitty. And so, and I just that idea, it just feels so right. That
Yeah,
idea. And so, yeah, I think that kind of stuff, like, um,
yeah.
is
The the
fun. It's
phrase.
just,
Yeah,
yeah, it's fun to like to like beat up on the
yeah,
shitty old wizard. Like, I
yeah.
don't know.
It has a little bit to do about the rebellion thing I was talking about. Like
Yeah,
RPGs are
yeah,
kind of a rebellion thing, and kind to fight these structures of power that we're starting to realize that they might not be so good for us after all.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and as a medium of art, it is something that creators such as you, as I, will use to express a little bit about what you think about what we value. And yeah, I think that's great, and I love that it is intentional, and that's very good. Intentionability is something that I think it's very important in art, in creation, and especially in RPGs too, because it is an interactive medium, so people will interact with your intentions and maybe grow from them, learn from them, or maybe come up with their a better one. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah,
When that happens, the best.
yeah.
Yeah.
JP, do you think you have any kind of maybe advantage, or maybe you learned something that you leverage when you do your work and you're kind of proud of it? And if you do, can you talk a little bit about what it is that you think you're good at and you put on your work?
Oh, I so I love being a writer and an illustrator. And I find that a lot of my favorite creators are also that. There's something about when the writing really matches the art. Um, and usually, I mean, sometimes collaboration can like make those things happen, and it's wonderful, and you can tell. But a lot of times, when the person writing it is also drawing the pictures, um, it it just happens naturally. So I'm like
Mm-hmm.
usually very drawn to that, and so I that's what comes to mind. Um, I feel like that's maybe like a personal preference thing,
Yeah.
but um, also like it's really like kind of a basic thing, but I think gets overlooked a lot, and like it's I don't want to be like too negative, or it's the thing that drives me absolutely insane about the actual D&D books.
Mm.
Um, but like when you write something and then you have a picture, you don't have to like the picture, picture's worth 1,000 words or whatever. You don't
Oh
have to
yeah.
explain what the picture is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I
Mm-hmm.
just did this zine about 25 little weirdos, and there's an illustration of each of the NPCs, and they each have a description, but the description isn't anything
Yeah.
physical, what they look like, what they're wearing, any of
Exactly.
that stuff, because the
Yes.
picture the picture handles it, right?
Yes.
um
Yes.
and so that, I mean, that's like a really basic easy thing, but I think um that's something that like maybe happens a lot in um
Traditional books. Yeah.
oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was thinking about this today, and like indie RPGs screwed me for reading traditional RPG books. I tried to
Uh-huh.
get one of those 300, 400 A4 sized
Yeah.
books, and I want to read their game. I really do because
Yeah.
I want, but it's so slow. Like I feel like most of these books could be a zine or like a digit
Yeah.
sized 120 books, but they make it
Mhm.
a large 300, 400 books because you have to sell paper. They earn more money
Yeah.
if they sell
Yeah.
more paper. But
Yeah.
I mean, I can't finish. I just start another indie I read another indie RPG book
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because it feels like you're not moving, you're not making progress. Like I'm half an hour reading this book, I read 2 pages, and it's like talking about skills, talking about piloting. I know what the fuck piloting is.
Yeah, yeah.
Topics,
I mean,
you know?
I'm right there with you. Like yeah, I mean, it's um I think that's like especially with things that you might like try to use at a table. You
Yeah.
just can't have these huge books, and maybe it's just the way. I mean, plenty of people like that stuff. So
Oh yeah,
maybe
for
maybe
sure.
maybe it's just our our
Yeah.
brains. I'm right there with you.
That's
But
what
but
I'm saying. Like
also,
indie RPGs screwed me because
yeah, yeah.
I I think it's pointless. Why are you explaining this to me again? Like
Uh,
everyone knows what a sword is. Do you have to explain what a sword is? Really? It's like
uh-huh.
I don't know.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
I mean, I really like we talked a little bit about like making things that other people can read. I really like trying to like condense
Yeah.
uh as much stuff into as
Yeah.
small as
It
I mean,
has to be useful. It has to be something
yeah,
that I wouldn't think about by myself. Like making a publishing adventure about orcs in a mine that found a treasure chest, and
yeah,
everyone can come up with this.
yeah, yeah,
Why are you selling me this? And and
yeah,
and these huge books has a lot of stuff that, yeah, we know this. We don't. like I'm buying. That's it. I'm buying paper, and I feel the problem I have is that I don't know. It's because of autism. I have to finish the fucking book, but it takes
Yeah,
so
yeah.
long because it's so boring. I don't
Hmm.
know, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
working through it, but I'm trying to get the willpower to just drop the book and go read something else.
Hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, hopefully that stuff has cool pictures.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a cool
Yeah,
system. Like I'm
yeah, yeah,
as I make progress, I say, oh, this is cool. This I can think about this. But it's like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's as we say here, it's trying to get milk from a stone. I'm milking
Hmm.
the stone because it's hard, but sometimes something comes out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
JP,
I,
another. Go ahead.
oh,
Go ahead.
I'm just kind of. I would love to. um, I say this. I was gonna say I would love to like just sit and watch a game of like some really crazy crunchy system. That I mean, I guess you can with actual plays.
Yeah, APs. Yeah.
Um, but like see, I don't know that I'm like as interested in like and this is why I say I want to sit and watch because I don't know that I'm as interested in learning the crazy crunchy system um as much as I am to like see people who enjoy that stuff. Like I'm like I want to understand it more. I
You
want
you
I
want
want to
to
understand
you
like
want to see more
yeah,
the experience than the what is behind the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
experience.
yeah.
I
Because
see. Yeah.
like I said, the complicated systems and numbers and
Mm-hmm.
that's the stuff that I struggle with. So reading through those books is tough, right?
Yeah.
But I think if you can watch people play it and have fun with it, and then like then
Yeah.
um
Yeah. I understand.
then
I like that part too, but I'm always gonna wonder how did the rules favor that kind of experience. So I wanna see
yeah, yeah, yeah,
how the clock ticks or something like this. So I'm
sure,
always
yeah,
curious
yeah,
about this.
yeah.
And JP, what about the things you struggle with, the things you have more difficult with, the things you wish you were maybe a little bit better? Do you have anything you wish you were better at to make your work better, to be able to do it more peacefully? I don't know, anything you would like to
Yeah.
improve in your craft?
So, I mean, so many things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think writing is always a struggle, and it's that you know the translating from the brain meat to the
Yeah.
usable thing on the page. That's always the hardest part for
Yeah,
me.
I saw a meme today. It was like this artist like thinking about art, and it's the artist thinking, and there's like this great handwritten image talking about
Mhm.
art, and it's like a balloon, and it's like a stick figure talking about art.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean that's like um, there was something that this is a total diversion from your question,
Mm-hmm.
but there was something that like popped up on Twitter that was like it was like a diagram of how people visualize an apple. I think it was. So it was like
Oh yeah.
some people have it in their brain where it's like a photo of an apple, and then it like scales down. Some people have like a cartoon of an apple, and then
Yeah.
then there's some people that like have nothing. They don't visualize
Yeah.
anything when they're imagining, and that blew me away because
Mm-hmm.
I always just in my own head, I'm the cartoon, right? I'm the simplified,
Mm-hmm.
you know sometimes there's color, sometimes there's not,
Yeah. Depends
real
on the
simple.
connection. Yeah.
Yeah,
Depends. Like
yeah,
5G. Do you have 5G antennas? Then it functions better or
yeah.
otherwise. Yeah.
No, that's a great analogy. Yeah. um but that um that almost like tripped me up because it's like, oh man, when I talk about like drawing maps or it's like I talk so much about like picture the struggle with art is picturing something in your head and then trying to
Mm-hmm.
like move that picture
Materialize it.
from
Yeah.
your head through your hand onto a piece of paper or whatever. And then there's some people that don't even picture anything in their head. And
Yeah.
so and then like when you're talking about playing games, you're um describing things,
Mm.
and you hope the hope is that everybody around the table is kind of imagining like at least something similar to each other. They're understanding,
Yeah. Yeah.
but then like of course not. Of course,
Yeah. Of course,
everybody
it's
is.
very different,
Yeah,
and there's probably some elements that are similar because it's the elements that were established in the game as fiction.
yeah,
But like,
yeah,
I love that we're all playing the same game and having a kind of a similar experience, but each person is imagining something completely different in their heads. They have
hmm,
similar things, and as the game progresses and more things in the fiction are established, the more homogeneous that those universe get, but they're still very personal, very unique, and very, why not, weird to
yeah,
everyone at the
yeah.
table too. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I feel like I
We're talking
super
about
tangented that question, whatever the question was before.
we're talking about the difficult about the work, what you find
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
struggle more, and you talked about translating ideas into writing, right?
yeah.
You have a easier time to translating your image ideas into illustrations than your ideas into writing.
It is
It's
easier.
less
I mean,
abstract, right? It's less abstract.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and I think just from the because I've been drawing forever, and that's kind of what my job was, and like I've got. I mean, I would love to you know get better at illustrating quicker,
Hmm.
if that it is
Yeah.
possible, but I also want to write and get better at writing.
Hmm.
But um, that is the easier part for me, just because of how much I've done the illustrating part. But like, yeah, I mean, I would love to get better at drawing like cool background stuff. A lot of my stuff is very character focused.
Hmm.
So it'd be cool to like illustrate some awesome fantasy backgrounds and add that into my work. I think that would make things a lot better. There's so many things to
Yeah, of course. I
to
mean,
get better at.
just something you do like. Hello, wonderful weirdos. This is Diogo Nogueira again, and today I'd like to talk to you about one of my favorite games, a game that I created. And if you listen to the podcast, I love dinosaurs, and it's called Primal Quest. It is a weird stone and sorcery adventure game. It's a NSR game, which is this game that caters to the old school style of play, but has more modern and more cinematic gameplay adapted to our modern sensibilities. It has adventure with dinosaurs, ancient civilizations, spirity, sorcery, aliens, elder gods, and much, much more. It's very pulpy. It has, a complete rule set, a mini hex crawl, an adventure introductory adventure. You can find it at Exalted Funeral, itch.io, Drive-Thru RPG, and your best local game store. And we're releasing more and more stuff for it, so stay tuned and play Primal Quest. So let's get back to the weird with our chat. Do you study writing or anything? Do you try, because it's something you would like to improve? Do you seek any way to maybe work on that on your crafts? I don't know, reading about it or studying other games that you think uh, do a
Yeah,
good
I
job at
mean,
it?
yeah, I mean, definitely like reading other games. Um, that's a good point. Like, I probably should. Um, in school, like making comics. Um, Definitely read um about writing and just like storytelling and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuff translates a little bit to writing for games. but yeah, looking at other games is definitely the
Do you know
most
any?
helpful.
Could you tell us one or two or how many one
I mean,
games that you
honestly,
you think do a very good job at this writing thing?
yeah, like what what pops into my mind immediately. One of the recent things I've read are the old school essential anthologies that you are a part of.
Oh,
Um, those two new ones, I
yeah,
think it's just
volumes
called,
one and two.
yeah,
Is
adventure
that
anthologies.
yeah, Adventures Anthology? Yeah,
Yeah,
Adventure Anthology.
like just reading those, they're just the one shot adventures, and I love I love the way they're like laid out. And it's just
OSC is great at that.
yeah,
Very
it's so perfect.
concise, very easy to run, and you
Yeah,
can run adventures without reading anything before. Just sit at the table
yeah, because
open, and it
you
plays.
have your map and your list of rooms, and then each room is like it's just the thing that the players will see immediately
Yeah,
is the first, like sentence or two, and then there's like a couple of bullet points if they investigate further. And it's like that's so perfect and easy and like
yeah,
um
and go straight to the
and
point. They're kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
evocative, but they are short. They're direct, and it's not like paragraphs of description that you.
yeah, yeah.
And there is something important hidden there somewhere, but
Hmm.
you you don't read it because you want to skip it because it's too much. I always do that with old adventures, like
Uh-huh.
paragraphs and paragraphs, and
Yeah, yeah.
I have
So
to learn how to, I don't know, I have to get comfortable in writing on those books and marking what is really important there, because
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, that's that is the challenge is being like so succinct, I guess.
mm-hmm.
I like
Saying a lot with a little.
yeah,
That's the goal, yeah. Because
yeah.
even in
Shadowheart
editing,
comes to mind.
yeah, even in editing, like we always like
Yeah,
there's phrases that, especially like me and other people from Brazil that I'm working with too. Uh, Sometimes there is just one word in English that has the whole idea we're trying to
sure.
express, and like in an expression or a phrase, and
Hmm.
in learning this, not only you know makes your text more concise, you will save on paper, you save money, doing your work, but it is a lot more expressive because this
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
being specific is a lot more inspiring than being generic and trying to convey that idea with a lot of
Hmm.
words. It's a lot more
Yeah,
confusing. So
yeah. I think Luke Gearing
oh
comes to
yeah,
mind for that specific
it's
thing.
amazing writer, amazing writer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
There's um, there's lots, but
yeah.
yeah.
I
I
think
mean
there
that
was
that is
there was a game was OZR. I think it's an RPG, very compact. Is it? I don't know. By yes. Wow, the text is fantastic. It's very minimalist and but it's very evocative. And
mhm.
when I read that, I'm like, wow, my goal is to be able to write like this. It's very compact, very minimalist, but you know says a lot.
Yeah, I
uh
got it pulled up. I'm gonna check that out. um,
yeah.
Zedek. I'm probably mispronouncing their name. Another one that's just like
Mm-hmm.
that's an example of totally different kind of fantasy world, but so beautifully expressed through the writing.
Yeah.
You get a full picture of the strange, different fantasy,
Yes.
just because the writing's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
JP, what is the weirdest game you ever played, or if not the weirdest, maybe a weird game you played recently that made an impression you made you think about game design or games in a different way, and that can be a role-playing game, video game, board game,
Mhm.
any kind of play.
Let me look back here at my shelf. Um,
Have you been playing recently, or the job of writing takes most of the time? I know I play a lot less than I wanted to, but I try.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I would love to run more. I'm actually gonna run a game at a local game shop this weekend for strangers. So that'll be the first time I've ever done that.
Mm.
Because I do want to run more stuff, and lately usually running stuff has been running um, my own adventures and things. As far as weird, I'm trying to think of what I've played recently that's really weird.
Mm.
Um,
Well,
just
we,
just
we, we,
started a new game
oh
with
yeah.
my friend Scott. He's running the Cipher system, which I don't think is um, particularly. I can't say that word. It's not weird by its nature, but because my friend Scott is running it, there's gonna be some weird stuff, like his own
Mm.
world or whatever. Um,
Well, I think it kind of
yeah,
tries to be, like it's originally from Numenera, right? Which is kind
yeah,
of this
yeah, yeah,
science fantasy. There's some weirdness there, even though there's a lot of similar science fantasy. But it's one of those games that I think it's a good game, but I think it could be a 120 digit sized book, and it's
yeah. Oh,
too
dude, the
big.
book. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
yeah.
a
And
phone book.
the system is not hard. It's kind of a simple system if you if
Hmm.
you look at it. The character sheet's kind of scary because it's big, has a lot of parts, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's that Cipher is one of those games that I wish they would just make it smaller and
Hmm.
more accessible in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really excited to play. So my
Yeah.
character is a halfling, and their only ability is that they can like grow super big for a
Wow.
minute. So like my little halfling guy can grow to be 8 feet tall, and like once we get into the game, it's just gonna like keep getting bigger. So eventually, I'll be able to grow to be like 80 feet
That's
tall.
weird enough. That's
Uh,
that's
yeah, yeah. So like
yeah,
that's
that's
the kind
awesome.
of the kind of game we're running.
That sounds amazing. And
Yeah.
JP, we're about an hour and 20, and now I want
Holy
to get into more, personal things and maybe ask you about weird experiences you might have had. And I would like to let's start small and start with maybe religion, spirituality, or philosophy. Do you do you see yourself as a spiritual person? Do you follow any kind of religion, or do you follow any kind of maybe philosophy that maybe helps guide you in those difficult moments of life? Anything like this?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of knew this question was coming, and I don't want to be like have a lame answer or whatever, but I'm like not spiritual. I guess is the simple way of putting it. You know,
Are you
um,
atheist? Do you believe in God or?
I guess it would, yeah, like atheist agnostic would be the technical the term. That I'm like I don't know.
Do you care
um
about this at all, or do you like I don't care? I'm too
I mean
busy with really important stuff to think about this.
I mean I care about being an empathetic person. So
Mm-hmm.
like that, that side of it. But as far as like um I feel very comfortable not knowing what is going
What's
on.
out there? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'm like, it's not that I don't care. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's more just being comfortable, like,
Sure. Yeah.
because it would be very cool to know, I think,
Yeah.
or maybe it wouldn't. But
But
yeah,
you do mention, trying to be empathetic, and maybe do you try to embolden other virtues? Do you try to? That's what I'm asking about the philosophy part. Do you
Yeah,
try
yeah, yeah.
any other kind of virtues or things you are consciously trying to emulate and learn and present yourself in the world, or maybe even any kind of thought or philosophy or thinking that helps you during your moments of struggle?
hmm I mean, I maybe I'm simplifying it too much, but I think it's just really simple in that it's like, life is hard, and so it would be a lot easier if we just all treated each other with respect and gratitude and the empathy and all of that stuff. And so I just, it's just kind of like, um,
Yeah,
keeping that stuff in mind.
that's great. And where
Yeah.
did you learn that from? Was that something you learned from your caretakers or something you discovered yourself?
Yeah, growing up, my mom she was like the director of Ronald McDonald House, um, which is like, it's I actually don't know why maybe McDonald's is like a big sponsor or something. I don't know
It
why
is. It is.
Ronald McDonald
Yeah.
has anything to do with it, but it's a place that families can go and stay at. It's like a
Tax
big.
purposes. That's why
Oh,
McDonald's
sure,
does it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's like a big nice place for families to
Yes.
stay that's near a hospital. So when their
Mm-hmm.
kids are um, are sick and
Sick.
have to be
Yeah.
in the hospital, the families have a place to stay, and it's free and really nice. So I kind of like grew up. I
Mm-hmm.
spent a good chunk of my childhood like kind of being at um, this Ronald McDonald House, and just I mean, you just
Yeah, you learn, for example, you learn
yeah, you
to do
just
the good
around.
towards other people, to connect with them, to treat them well, to welcome them, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, and I
yeah,
mean, um seeing like very very sick kids. I'm At the time I'm a kid, and then I
mm-hmm.
see these other sick kids, and it's like,
Yeah,
um just seeing how lucky I am, and all of everything that you can imagine that comes with that. So it's just like, other
yeah,
people have hard
yeah.
hard hard
Do you
lives,
uh,
and like, yeah.
do you think this kind of experience help you be more grateful
Oh
for your
yeah.
life, and do you have like a practice of stopping our busy lives of running around and
Mhm.
realizing how lucky we are? Do you have a practice of gratitude and stopping and looking around and seeing?
Yeah, yes. I mean, my wife is also a creative person. She has like actually she has a well, no, I'm not gonna. I'll talk about her stuff in a minute,
Okay.
but so we both have like our own creative
Mm-hmm.
careers, and it can be stressful, but we remind each other, like, it's kind of, I feel like we both it's like part of our jobs of being a supportive partner is like to do what we can to make sure the other person is doing good, and then also to remind like how good we have it. So we're like constantly reminding each other, like, um of that stuff.
That's
And I
awesome.
think, yeah, I think just, I don't know if it's like a practice, like
Yeah, a
intention. I mean,
routine. Yeah.
it is intentional, but it's
Yes.
not like a structured thing. But that's something that we do a lot. Just remind ourselves that, like, we literally have like the coolest jobs, and
Yeah.
we're extremely lucky, and um, all of that stuff. Yeah.
That's great. And would you mind talking a little bit about the creative work your wife makes?
Yeah. So the reason I wanted to bring it up is because her company is called Band of Weirdos.
Mm.
And I mean, she makes like enamel pins and patches, and has like her own like kind of gift shop, sort of like online gift shop kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it is all about celebrating being weird and cool
That's awesome.
and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So yeah,
That's
um,
perfect. So,
yeah,
people too, we're gonna have links to her store and check out the pins. I have some of them. Yeah, I remember you sent
oh
them
yeah,
something. They are amazing. You guys have to check it out. I have a small wizard one. It's so great. It's so cute, and I love it. Uh, so, NJP, what about we talked about religion, and your philosophy and spirituality, but what about other maybe supernatural things? Do you have any experience with maybe ghosts, aliens, UFOs, cryptids, any
Mhm,
weird supernatural thing we would immediately assume it's not true? Do you have any
mhm.
not real? What I mean?
Yeah. Well, my speaking of my wife, she uh, she like hallucinates a lot at night, um, and so she'll very often wake up uh, with seeing something weird, crazy thing, dark shadows crawling across the ceiling.
Yeah,
Um, I don't. Um, I think it's internal mind playing tricks, sleep kind of thing. But that is an ongoing.
yeah.
uh,
That's what you believe, but let's be
yeah,
like
yeah,
deep it down. Don't you
yeah.
have like a small doubt that maybe this is
Right.
real
Well,
or
so
no?
I mean, what happens is she'll grab my arm and be like, it's crawling down the ceiling, it's crawling down, and then I'll wake up and look up at the ceiling, and there's nothing there. Maybe there is something there. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
And I
No,
just can't see it, but she can.
yeah, yeah,
um,
I know. Of course, we're always gonna prefer to believe it's not there, but it's like this, just this small sliver of doubt in the back of our heads. It's like,
mhm.
and I think it's healthy to have it. I don't think we
Yeah,
should
yeah,
discard this because it's part of imagination too, right? Because if we didn't
yeah.
believe in anything, I don't know if we would be able to create the stuff that we do. So I kind of think
That's interesting.
this is small doubts of reality, it's kind of
Yeah,
a healthy for artists, right? I don't know.
that's a really good perspective, because I was about to say, like I I know how easy it is to just imagine things and make up
Mm-hmm.
fantastical things, and I know that it's just coming from my imagination and it's not real. But um, I think
Real, yeah,
your attitude
yeah,
is maybe is a better attitude. Like, um, yeah, like that stuff does come from somewhere, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
and
So
yeah. There is
yeah,
a
that's
lot we don't know about consciousness. Yes,
yeah,
consciousness
yeah,
level. So yeah, a small sliver of doubt is, I think it's healthy
yeah.
to keep in a way.
Here's another cool thing that I love about um, tabletop games
Mm-hmm.
is, so like, if we're sitting around playing a game and we together we come up with this story, and there's characters and all this crazy awesome stuff happens. What I've found is, if you're like hanging out with those same friends and they start talking about that story that you created together, and they're you kind of reminisce about how fun the game was, and like, oh, remember when this thing happened, and it's like literally you're making new memories, right? the even though it's just a conversation at a table, it's not really happening, but in your head, it's a real memory, just like as if you remember something that did actually happen. And I
Yes.
think that is so cool.
Yeah.
Um,
And also that makes me think about what we were talking about earlier, the people who can't visualize things, they have
sure, yeah.
aphantasia. I always wonder how, because those people play RPGs too, like how do they play games? Because RPG,
Right.
like we're talking and we're imagining those things in our head, right? And I'm like, do they like imagine it's kind of a book, so it's like a text they're reading? How does that work? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
And now I want to ask a friend of mine that I know has this and plays like, how
I would
does
love
that work?
to hear that. Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm very curious. Yeah. Uh, so you yourself, no experience with aliens, ghosts, anything, UFOs?
I mean, I
No,
wish.
I wish.
I
Yeah,
wish.
yeah, I wish.
I'd
Yeah,
love to meet some cool aliens or something.
yeah,
you know, I would love some aliens to come down and be like, "Hey, stop, everybody, stop being dumb. Like do this to fix all the problems or something."
yeah.
Um,
But I do
yeah,
sometimes think too that maybe they don't come exactly because we can't understand each other. Because
yeah,
like we can't go there. They
uh,
can't understand. They're killing each other for nothing.
yeah,
If we come there, they're gonna kill us. They're gonna because
yeah, yeah.
of course, if we're killing ourselves, of course we're gonna try to kill whoever comes here.
Uh-huh. I
So
mean,
if I were then, I wouldn't come here. Fuck
uh-huh.
no, those people are insane. I'm stay the
Uh-huh.
fuck away from here. You know?
I mean,
Yeah,
it's great point. Yeah,
yeah. I don't know.
yeah.
JP, another thing I ask here is if you had any experience with weird things that happened to you. Have you ever had maybe an out of body experience, or maybe a near death experience, or any kind of experience with really deep states of meditation or trance, anything like
Hmm.
this?
Um, I nothing comes to mind. Like I'm not like a drug user. Um, I mean
Well, do
I'm
do you drink coffee? Because
I
coffee
don't.
is a
I
drug.
yeah.
Oh, okay,
I rarely even drink caffeine.
okay, yeah.
So like I mean, in
Because
terms of that stuff, like if I
coffee
take
is a psychedelic too. People, oh, I don't. Yeah, but coffee
yeah
is a psychedelic. So yeah,
yeah.
but nothing. Even yeah, it's good to
I'm
be
not
clean
super
too.
strict
Yeah.
about caffeine or anything, but yeah, I mostly don't. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just honestly like if I take like cold medicine, um, that kind of makes me
Oh
crazy
yeah.
and um,
Have you ever had any crazy highs with cold medicine or anything?
um, I mean, not really. I like I with any of that sort of stuff, I usually just fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I so like okay, I think about the we talked a little bit about skateboarding before,
Yeah.
and that's something where I said I like I'm not a very good skateboarder. Um, because I think there's an element of skateboarding where you have to be um, there's a risk of danger, and I'm constantly paranoid about falling and like breaking my wrist, and then um, that would be very bad for my job. So there's this thing in the back of my mind all the time about like I'm always afraid
Anxiety.
skating.
That's the name.
Yeah, 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 right.
The
um, and but then there's these times in skating where it's part like muscle
flow.
memory. Yeah, it is, and I mean it happens with like drawing and stuff too, but it is that flow state kind of thing
Yeah.
where it's just like it's
Being there and doing
yeah, yeah,
what you're
and
doing.
yeah, your mind kind of turns
Yeah.
off and it just You can trust that whatever your feet are doing is the right thing to land the trick, or
Yeah.
you can just zone in on the drawing, and um, the line that my hand wants to make is going to make it, and that's
Yeah.
a rare state of things, but when it happens, like that's a really great.
Yeah.
um
It's it's
yeah,
awesome when it happens, but it's hard to find like in the busy life, like running and doing things. Uh,
yeah,
but yeah, it's like the flow state. I think it's almost like the very few moments where your mind and your body are aligned. You're not, controlling a meat puppet with your thoughts and thinking about
yeah.
what you have to do next, how why your partner is angry with you, or how you have to get these documents to the IRS or anything like this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
um yeah, so I like started doing a like creative coaching thing. So
Oh wow.
it's almost like I mean, it's not a therapist, they're a coach, but it feels like therapy. Um and uh um yeah, a lot of it is like trying to figure out how to, maybe
You
not
were
necessarily.
you were attending the creative coaching, or
Yeah,
you were the
yeah.
one
So
coaching
it's
others?
no, I'm the one attending.
Okay,
I need the
Mhm.
help. uh,
We all
yeah.
do.
So yeah. um, so yeah, I'm just I'm trying to like figure out how to get better at um, at not being so busy, and being in control of being creative and stuff. And it's not necessarily all about getting into the flow state, but some of it, I've just started meditating, and
Oh,
like and learning about it, because I um am I know nothing.
yeah,
So I'm at like level 0 here, but trying out that stuff to sort of get a little more of a handle on, um, just better control of my mind,
yeah.
and so I can be.
Anxiety, as I said, like
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
really, really, really
Uh-huh.
helps and
Yeah,
calms you down, right? As you said, like run the time, like be better of time. We're always running,
yeah,
and sometimes we're running without the need of we have to say, oh, I have to be there this time. We have to work this way. We have
yeah,
these very fixed ideas of how things are supposed to be, and we get very hung up on them. And being able to meditation, just be able to stop and being okay. I don't have to do anything. I can just be here and feel yourself, right? Uh,
yeah.
Not in a dirty
Yeah, yeah,
aspect, but I mean,
uh-huh. Yeah,
just feel your body. Like I was meditating today. I was like, oh, I can sense my whole body at once. Like I can sense my
hmm,
arms and my legs and my torso and my arms. But what because on the day-to-day life you're running, we're doing this, you're doing the dishes,
yeah,
I'm writing something. You're all here, and
hmm,
this
totally.
is nothing, right? Your body is nothing sometimes, and meditations. I don't know. You slow things down when you can breathe again, and you're more ready to face what is outside. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. Something that like I have just started. I don't know if it's even right to say wrapping my brain around it, because that kind of contradicts what I'm about to say. But through this coaching, it's like realizing that, like, I am different than my mind. So like,
Yes,
even
yes, yes.
though I don't even really know how to explain it, but um, like I can be separate from the thoughts that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Is like a wild new thing. Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
I can even explain it.
Yeah, because our brains can be jerks. Uh,
Yeah, you're right.
right.
Yeah,
Because if you think about it, our brain has everything to make us happy. They can produce all the stuff that makes us happy, but they don't.
yeah,
They
right.
they brain tricks us thinking everything is bad, and they force us to put efforts to be happy, right?
Yeah.
Go
Yeah. Yeah.
exercise, go meditate. You have to. It just doesn't come easy, right? I don't know. My wife hates that I'm saying this, but I don't know. I have this idea that everything that is worthwhile, it needs effort,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
our health is that way. Our mental health is that way. Our our
Hmm.
bodies, they you need to make doing stuff to be healthy,
Yeah.
and yeah, our
I,
our
I I I
our
super agree with that.
brains will try everything they can to convince us
Yeah.
that we don't need to do anything, that
Yeah.
everything.
Well, even
uh,
even it's crazy to say it, but even like relaxing takes effort, right? Like
oh yeah, because
sometimes it takes effort to like recharge and take care of
uh,
yourself. Yeah.
we live in a society that trains us. We're conditioned to believe that we only have value if we're producing something, if we're
Yeah. Yeah.
making money. And that's super weird because every time people do something cool, the first thing we say is that, oh, you can make money out of it,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that's terrible. That's not healthy at all, right?
Right.
Mm, Money is not natural. We invented this thing. Money is nothing. It's a piece
Yeah.
of paper. We decide it's worth something, and someday it won't be worth anything, and we are worrying so much about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right there with you.
Okay, we've been talking a lot about this. So we learned no weird things. Have you ever tried psychedelics? No, right? Yeah,
No, no,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I
That's
should I should and some because
well,
I'm like
yeah. I don't know if you should, but if you want to
sure.
try someday,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
there's
yeah.
many ways to do it safely. Just a
Right,
curiosity
yeah,
because I don't know. It's weird and it makes you think about stuff. Uh,
yeah.
there is. I was talking to a game designer friend here and talking about one of my latest game and wow, how do you come up with ideas for this? Is this drugs? I said yes. But I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
exactly,
joking,
like
but I mean,
yeah.
it
I'm
makes
not no, but
connections. I
I
don't
wanna
know.
try. Yeah, I would like to try for that reason exactly, is why I'm
Yeah, I don't know.
curious.
I think it is possible to get to that state without it.
Sure, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a lot harder, probably.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, let's keep going. Now a little bit of more whimsical, fun questions to know a little bit about your creativity, imagination, and personality. And the first question is if you could live in any fictional world or universe, whether it's from RPGs, literature, movies, comics, whatever. Uh, if you could choose any universe to live, uh, what would be the place you would choose to live, and who would you be in that universe?
Hmm. I mean, my gut instinct is to say like the Shire or something, like, but I also think that could be kind of boring. Like, I don't know that I'd want to
Wow,
be like a,
they do
uh,
smoke a lot of weed, so
yeah,
it
yeah,
it
right.
might be cool, and they eat a lot. So I think that's
Yeah,
a
I mean that's
perfect
why
place.
that's my gut
Yeah,
instinct is to say
yeah,
is
yeah,
to say that, but I don't know that. I mean, I guess if like you could have a good group of friends that likes playing games in the
yeah.
Shire, like, why
Maybe
not, right?
maybe the Shire after Lord of the Rings, because
Oh yeah,
few
yeah,
people
yeah.
came back, and maybe it's
Uh-huh.
a little more open, more
Yeah,
travelers passing by, and be a little bit more cosmopolitan in a way, right?
that's exactly what I'm trying to say about it being boring is like yeah, yeah, like maybe having a few different
Yeah,
perspectives
yeah.
and
Being
with
friends
some
with dwarves and maybe a
uh-huh.
wizard here and
Yeah,
there. Who
yeah,
knows?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And JP, if you could now the other way around, if you could get any element, anything from a fictional world or universe, and make that thing real in our world, uh,
Hmm.
would you choose to make it real and why? And that thing can be, a person, an entity, a faction, an energy source, an object, a location, anything like this.
Hmm. I mean, I like the sort of altruistic thing would be like if there could be magic in the world that would make um I don't know what kind of magic specifically, because like we said, there's probably people that would find ways to take advantage of it, but just something that would like make life easier for everybody, and make sure everybody has all the stuff that they need, so we don't have to spend
Yeah,
time fighting and
yeah.
being jerks and stuff. Like,
Just for
I don't.
starter, just the create food and water. That's
Yeah, yeah,
it.
right.
Just to start,
Yeah, I mean
that
that's a
could be
good.
very
That's
useful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, get like a good berry spell or something.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And make that thing accessible and not being just a
Yeah,
domain
exactly.
of billionaires or something.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that like honestly that was, you know, or if there was a way to like make AI art disappear. That's my more
Yeah,
selfish
yeah, yeah,
answer.
yeah.
It's like
No.
just get rid of
I
that
was
stuff.
I was talking to a friend that we shouldn't use AI for artists, but we should use AI politicians. No more real
Yeah.
politicians. Get the fuck out of these
Uh,
guys. Just use AI politicians. They won't be corrupt because
uh-huh.
you can't bribe AI. They don't need anything. They don't need money. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
AI,
yeah.
they don't need extra cash for extra expenses. They don't. They only
Uh-huh.
use your energy bill, and
Yeah.
that's it. We
Love
don't need
that.
AI artists. We don't need
Uh-huh.
AI
Yeah.
writers. We need AI politicians. That's
Uh-huh.
my
Get
proposal.
it like yeah, get
We
it
need
solving
to
the real problems.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, even if they screw us up, our humans politicians are already screwing us up. At
Oh,
least
yeah.
it's gonna be a lot cheaper, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Amazing.
if it goes wrong, we just pull the plug.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier. So,
That's awesome. Yeah. Love that.
uh, JP, if you could have any superpower in the world, in comics from everywhere, what
Yeah, yeah.
superpower would you choose to have, and what would be the first thing you would do with that?
Mhm. Yeah, so man, I spent a lot of time being a an adolescent thinking about what my mutant powers would be. Uh,
Yes, yes.
um, I mean, I think I think it would be really cool to like have time control powers, so I could um, I could like slow down time, so I wouldn't be afraid of doing the skateboard trick. Like I'd be in complete control. Um, but then that would kind of rob it of or even slow down time so
To
I
enjoy
could,
things. I think that's
yeah,
great. To
yeah,
slow
right,
down time to enjoy things. I think
yeah. So like,
that's an awesome superpower.
yeah. But then, have you ever seen the movie called About Time?
Yes, yes.
That messed me up, man, because I thought I thought like having time, like being able to go back in time and stuff would be so cool. But yeah, that movie, whoa, what
It's a
a
very good
heartbreak.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that like maybe changed my perspective on
Yeah. It makes
going
you think.
going.
It's kind of a
Yeah,
philosophical movie too. It's very
yeah,
good. I'm gonna put shows on links on the show notes for this movie. It's
yeah,
really a very good movie. It's kind of it's romantic, I don't know if
yeah,
people
yeah,
like,
yeah.
but it's the time travel and the philosophy and this idea
Mhm.
of you know enjoying the time you have with the people that are around you and
Yeah. It was wonderful relationship, the main character and his father.
yeah.
Um,
And
so
finally
there is the
letting go of
romantic side
that
of it.
to live
Oh
with
man.
his kids. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That ending. I'm sorry.
yeah.
It's kind of the ending. It's a spoiler. I don't know. uh,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, great, great choice, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
And JP, finally, the last question I have prepared here is: do you remember the last time you felt really happy and just grateful for being here, being alive? And if you do, can you share uh, how was that? Where were you? What is that you were doing? Who was with you? And
Yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned that my wife and I try to remind each other of that sort of
mm-hmm.
stuff a lot. So excuse me, I feel like I spend a lot of time in that. Like, I mean, like honestly, um, whenever I like play a game online, like I love playing in person, but I mostly play online. And it happens every time where like I'm busy with something and um, trying to get work done, and the scheduled game like is usually like a little bit in the way, but I always try and make time for it. But it's all I'm always like kind of like, oh, if the game got canceled, like it would be okay, like
Yeah,
that kind of feeling.
yes,
But then
yes, yes.
once you get on and your
And it's
friends
the
pop
best thing
up,
ever, right?
yeah, and then
Yeah,
at the end of it, you're like, man, like I'm so glad that
it wasn't canceled. Yeah.
yeah, I just played and it was great. And um, I mean, I honestly I don't know if I have a specific um
Moment.
but yeah, yesterday or the day before yesterday, I was skating and like was having a hard time, just doing like a little 50-50, like the most basic grind on this little curb high
Mm-hmm.
box, like something I've done 1,000 times, and I was having a hard time with it. And I couldn't do it, and I was getting frustrated. And then I did it, and then right after I land a kickflip first try, which is something that like never ever ever happens.
Wow.
And so like that was a wonderful feel. Like I don't know,
Mm-hmm. It is.
um,
The small
yeah,
things. That's
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
always talk here about gratitude. I do have a practice of this. Is I not always I'm able to at the end of the day do this, but I try to write three good things that happen. It doesn't have to be the best things. It's just like, oh, my wife gave me a chocolate today, or oh, my
yeah,
kid woke up and gave me a really great hug, or I don't know, someone said something nice about my work, or I had this chat with JP in the afternoon. It was great. Uh,
love that.
yeah,
I will start doing that. That sounds
yeah.
awesome.
I don't
Yeah,
know. It's just because I can be very negative. I don't know. It's because of I'm learning about this because of autism, or all the things about 100 or 0%. So I had some misunderstandings with my wife lately, and I was feeling very down. And I was talking to my friends, oh, not so well, and then like, well, at least I have a talk with JP this afternoon. I'm sure I will be feeling a lot better, and I am. But I mean, we have to be very very careful about, because negative things will impact us
yeah,
with a strength that's not proportionate to its real thing, you know. But I talk here about religion and philosophy because I try to practice and study Stoicism, and one of the things they say is that we react to our impressions of things and not to the things themselves. So when I have this misunderstanding with my wife, I'm not, worried about the misunderstanding. I'm worried about everything that this might be, and she's upset, and I'm always
mhm,
doing this and this and that, and it amounts to something much bigger than what really is, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
so remember these small good things kind of help alleviate that, and because it's biological. People say we remember the bad stuff because it is what helps us survive the tigers in the jungle when we
yeah,
are
yeah.
in the
Uh huh.
jungle, but we are
Yeah.
not anymore. So we have to learn how to I don't know, stop thinking about imaginary tigers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's something I
Perfect.
talk to my kids too. Like he's worried about something. Hey, is this real or is this another imaginary tiger? And he stops and
Yeah,
say, oh, it is imaginary tiger. you know?
yeah. Yeah.
Well,
That's perfect. Yeah, and we get to be here talking to each other amongst all of our awesome books
oh
behind us.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
It's great. I love it. This is my cave, like
yeah. Same.
from Primal Quest, like the cave of our people. I don't know.
Dude, I the drawing on the cave at the end of the game mechanic
Yeah,
in Primal Quest, I think is one of the most
yeah.
perfect, wonderful.
Thank you, my friend.
I
I'm
wish,
gonna incorporate that to the core book once the essentials is
yeah,
the core book right now, but eventually I'm gonna compile all the extra stuff and publish for it. And this is gonna
yeah,
be one of the central mechanics because I want, because it's a thing to generate storytelling. It's a thing that you take out from the game, so you remember, the gratitude thing,
memories.
something for
Yeah,
you to remember, memories,
yeah. Oh, it's so
and
cool.
it also creates communities because I
Hmm.
hope I will have to do this when I have a page for Primal Quest, to have a Cave of Our People page. So we have drawings from people all around the world, the adventurers, and they can write a little bit about it. And what we're
So
saying,
cool.
it's about connection, right? It's the
Yeah,
rebellion against this isolation, and figure out a way to make it this relevant for the game, because it is. It's a cave painting. And
hmm
also relevant for the player. It's something I'm quite proud of.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
something, yeah.
It's so cool. Like the perfect combination of all of what makes playing these games so fun.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you very much for this kind of words. And you see another great thing to remember. JP said nice things about the Cave of Our People. So thank you
Uh-huh.
very much, and thank you about all the work that you do. And I have your book about making comics too. And
Oh
and
yeah.
by the way, that series has a book about making games that looks very cool too.
Yeah, I that was like a later part of the series. They sent me all the part of the series that I was in, and that was a later. I gotta get that.
Yeah, I got that one. I
Oh
haven't read
yeah,
it, but I got it here because I
yeah.
saw. Oh, I have to get it, and
Mhm.
yeah, they have this feel of a work. It's whimsical. It's kind of
Yeah.
for kids, but has a lot of information, and the stuff that you do. If anyone is in doubt, oh, it is for kids. It's very good. It's very playable. It's very flexible. It's very open-ended, and you have a lot of tools for creating maps, for rolling tables, for creating monsters. So I'm really thank you for doing that, for keep doing it. And do you have any last messages for the wonderful weirdos out there that might still be listening to us?
But thanks for listening, and go have fun making stuff and playing and being creative.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just
Thank
just
you. That was a lot
be
of fun.
weird, be weird and make shit. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
yeah. Yes.
Can you take us out saying the catchphrase of the show? Keep it weird, everybody.
Keep it weird, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Weird Games and Weirder People. If you'd like to keep up with the show, please subscribe to be notified when we release new episodes. If you'd like to support us, please leave a review or head on to code-fi.com/WGNWP. See you next time, and remember, weird is the new wonderful.